Okay. All right. So I might do this as well. I don't know. It's funny. I'll flip between the two, but this is tied in with spirals and how spirals then turn into upward movement. So the first thing we're going to do is beginning constructive rest. And then there's this peculiar movement, which is to do with the spiral of the arm. The spiral of the arm, if you remember, is kind of counterintuitive. It goes from the trapezius down the back of the arm into the triceps, and then flows down the inside of the arm to the thumb. That's one of the spirals. The other spiral is the one that goes from the latissimus dorsi all the way up here, ties into the biceps, and then goes down the back of the arm to the pinky. And what this means is that the pinky is tied to power because it ties into the legs in a broad sense, and the thumb is tied to, it comes up here into the kind of thinking part, into precision movement. So painters, people who play musical instruments, people who carve, when you sign your name, this is kind of tied into this line. So we're going to play with those lines a little bit. In constructive rest, the hand is going to come up, grow up on one side, and then going to come across the body here and wrap around the neck. And you can give yourself a little rub here. And then you're going to unfurl and kind of stroke across the body here and unfurl it all the way down and lay it out here. And you just track the way that the bones want to go. Okay, so you'll do that movement first of all, and note that it goes from constriction to expansion. And from an embryonic journey point of view, because if I'm in a big amniotic sac, I can't bring my arms out, so I fold them in. I can't bring my legs out, so I fold them in. And the way that the limbs fold is, of course, it folds this way with the arms, and it folds this way with the legs. So the elbows fold backwards, the knees fold forwards, if that makes any sense. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this first movement is from up here, and you unfurl across here. The second movement is as if you were grabbing the hilt of a sword down here, and then you're going to drift the arm up and open up here. So you grab, and then when you come back, you fold in. It's all about growth and contact as well, of course. Yes, so it goes from here and then open out opposite. And this one's here and open out opposite. Yeah. Okay, so then you're going to come here, and as you unfurl, you're just going to roll away from the arm like we did last week, and feel the moving away from the arm. And you'll feel that, and feel the way that the rotation of the arm what the rotation of the arm wants to do in response to that. And then we'll do the same with the sword that way. And you can see what's going on there. I mean, I don't have to make shit up. And then we can do the same with the other arm. And then the fun part is that you will then meander up this side with one arm and meander down that side with the other arm. And then as this unfurls, move away from there. And then you can get movement on there. And then as this comes back in, this will unfurl. And you can feel it that way. So you're just going backwards and forwards down there. Does that make sense? So that's a fun game. If we have time, we'll do that. Note as well what the legs are doing here as well as part of the process. Then we're gonna come over onto our front, and one arm is going to be extended and the other leg, and then you're going to come into this position, and we're just going to do a little bit of extension and contraction. I'll talk you through that, but eventually there'll be an extension like this, and no doubt some of you will be able to extend more with their legs than I can, which is all good. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. With an extension. And then we're going to start playing with coming up onto all fours. The lizard ascends. So I'm going to bring this arm into here and roll back and come into a kind of froggy pose. And here you can really see how the rotation of the arm works. Because if I rotate around the thumb, this does this very nicely. That rotates very nicely. But then if I want to rotate my pinky around my thumb, you'll see that that doesn't work. I have to move the whole arm to roll the pinky. So it really gives you a big into the way that the radius moves around the ulna. Yeah, so roll that and then come down again. And the idea behind this is that you really have a sense for how the weight exchange comes into the structure. So I'm not holding, I'm not squeezing, I'm really trying to focus on bones coming into the structure and ending up supporting the whole structure. That's that bit. Is this making sense so far? Well, it's choreography, it's dance school. Really? You'll be all right. I'll talk you through it. It'll be a doddle, be a jam. Yeah, be like, oh yeah, I got that. James, you can be here. I've got you all set up. Yes, definitely. It's okay. I bring them specifically for that, and they're fresh, clean this morning. You give them a sniff, and you go, "Oh, that smells like meadows." Yeah, it's an odd thing, the spiral movement, how we do spiral movements all the time, and they do complicate matters. There's no doubt about it. Um, Folding and unfolding seems mechanically pretty straightforward, but spiral movements and which imply tensegrity, they're less clear. They're less as far as storytelling is concerned. Spirals are tied in with whirlpools, with hurricanes and chaos. But what they do in our bodies is they bring about movement and freedom of movement within those kind of folding structures. Okay, so just bringing to mind straight away the points, the anchor points. And as I go through the anchor points, see if you can also, I mean, I invite you to track the kinds of stories that appear with you about your body as we go through this. It's fascinating to me to see how stories express a way of being. So, with any activity, one can say it's not how you do it or whether you do it, but who is doing it. If the person who is, just for instance, if the person who is furious is doing it, then there's a different way of using the body from the person who is quite who's lying on a beach. So the stories that you bring to the movement may influence the way the movement happens. So it may be as interesting to see what habits of mind you bring to the body as much as habits of muscular tension. So just give me a wag of the finger if I come to do some hands-on and you're not feeling it. Just let me know. So there's the point at the back of the head. You allow the muscles to fall away once the anchor point of the back of the head is felt. And of course, using the out breath to release the tension. And then there's the 2 points of the shoulder blades, wherever they are this morning. You may feel a part of your thoracic curve in contact with the floor as well. Just note what's going on there and let those anchor points inform the way that the muscles around the bones will release and the connective tissue is given the chance to have mobility to find the place that it wants to be this morning. You'll also feel the points of the elbows in contact with the floor. And all of this sensory information is bringing about change. It is a fundamental property of being human in this universe that observation creates change. And in observing the points that are in contact with the floor of the elbow, you can bring to mind the length of your arm. And then you bring to your mind's eye the points in contact with the floor of the pelvis. Might be 1, 2, 3, it might be 4. Allow those points to give permission for the muscles of the pelvis to melt away into the floor. You can also feel the weight of the femur coming in and settling. So that the knees go away towards the ceiling, they fly up. Whee, they're just floating up as a result of the root of the pelvis. And then you can bring to mind the point, the back of the head, and the length of the spine all the way through. Yeah. And as the pelvis releases, you can also bring to mind the possible release of the jaw, the possible release of the tongue. And then, of course, there's the 3 points of each foot. There's the soft part behind the big toe, the soft part behind the little toe, and the heel. And the structure in between, which is like a glorious pop-up tent. All those tendons and muscles designed to give this wonderful root system that you stand on. that's movable, that breathes, that's stable. And has those 3 points like a chicken claw that don't grip the floor, doesn't move away from the floor, but embraces the floor. And then as you have a sense for the tibia and the fibula, the low part of your leg, coming into connection with the floor, so the knee finds freedom. The knee has so much. It's like it's got two noisy neighbors. The knee, it's got the ankle and the pelvis, and here the ankle and the pelvis are at peace, and so your knees can they can take a holiday. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to start to play with this spiral. So on your favorite hand, you're going to begin to take a move, and then you're going to inhibit it, and you'll say, no favorite hand. The future of humanity is in the ambidextrous human. So I'm going to choose the other hand to begin with today. And so you're going to let that hand creep across your chest and feel the chest towards the opposite ear, and it's going to wrap around the neck, and you're going to invite expansion and extension in all those neck muscles and in the trapezius, and you're also going to track what happens with the shoulder as you track that across there, and what spirals and what moves as a result of that movement. And let the fingers do what they do over there in that muscle. And with all these movements, of course, the credo, what can I let go of as a result of this movement, is always there in the background. So once you have your arm over there, let the weight of the arm and the weight of the fingers tell you something about what you can let go of in the whole of the structure. And so then just going to gradually unfurl that arm across the floor the other way. And it's going to come down by your side. And as you do it, just really have a mind for what is happening in the structure of the arm. What is happening in the structure of the shoulder. You have this idea of where these movements connect. Yes. So that as the back of the hand spreads across the floor, you can feel the way that ulnar and the shoulder move with respect to that. That's beautiful movements, fellows. That's just great, folks. Yeah. And so you can experiment with that. You can do this a few times just to see what happens with that spiral. Mm, yeah. And when the arm is unfurled, just experiment with moving the body away from the arm just to see what happens with the structure of the arm as your torso moves away from that arm. Beautiful, beautiful movements. Yes, yes. Involve the legs. Beautiful. Yeah. And with the pelvis and the spine and the torso, see if you can use the instigations of Dart's idea of spreading and unfurling. So as you unfurl the torso and the pelvis back into place, the unfurl is in fact a spiral in itself, and it goes all the way down the arm. Okay. So then the next piece of choreography is that the arm you've been playing with is going to come across the pelvis to the opposite leg, and it's as if you're grabbing the hilt of a sword, or you're grabbing a screw gun that you have on that side. I don't know what it could be. What it's as if you're grabbing something over there, and you're just going to let the hand drift across and then up above, unfurl up above on that side, on the opposite side. So you're yes, exactly. And you may not be able to get your hand very high, but that's okay. Do what is comfortable according to your arm, unfurling it across the floor. Yeah, yeah. And you're kind of following the diagonal across the torso. That's it. Yes. And once you've done that a couple of times, then you bring the torso in with that movement as well. So then when the arm is up there, you just very gently bring the body away from that extended arm. Yeah, and just sense what happens to the shoulder as a result, and the rotation of the arm as a result. And the fun thing about this particular this particular um, I don't want to say twist, but I'll just say it anyway, is that the sacrum, of course, is the beginning of the line all the way up to the pinky. So as your legs move away from that arm, and as the torso extends, there is a lengthening that goes all the way along the latissimus dorsi. Oh, yeah, okay. Very nice movements. Really great explorations. It may also be fascinating to see how the act of unfurling the torso on the floor changes the amount of length that you have in the entire system. So now just let that arm come back to center, and just see what you notice about the difference between the two arms. Hmm? Feels longer. It looks wider. I would love to take a picture of that. That's freaky. Say that one more time. Yes. Awesome. Awesome, Bo. That's what a great observation. And that's that's there's a there's the squeezing of the one side, like the compression of one side, and then the release of the other. So, these are not compressing. It's it's you eclosion is one way of talking about it, where you close in and you expand out. And so what you've been doing is expanding out, and the side that's decided to expand out, even though it's bony connections, still lengthens and widens, which is kind of counterintuitive. You think, oh, I've got a bone system, it can't that's it. But clearly there's a way of holding yourself that allows for bones to lengthen and widen. Okay. So now gonna have a listen to the other side. Thanks for that observation, Bo. You go with the other side, and yeah, reach up towards the neck, and in that as well, you can also um, have a listen for the tensions that are in that diagonal just by what you're doing. You can talk to the bony structure there. Yeah. Nice, Katie. Yeah. Really luxuriate in the dual touch. There's two things going on. There is the structure of your arm that you're listening to in contact with your body. And then there is the giving nature of the touch of your hand on the parts that you're touching. So you're really giving yourself permission in this anti-sensuous culture to give yourself permission to feel your own body. So, it's like it's a it's a terrible thing that if you were to touch yourself on a bus in this way, it would it people would give you a second look. So there's something strange about our relationship with the sensuous. So you can really give yourself permission to be sensuous. Your nervous system is giving you information here about the release of the muscles, permission to release the muscles. The nerves go from the skin, they feed the same thing through into the muscle, they feed the same thing, same information then goes deep. Then when you've done this movement a couple of times, then you can roll the body away from the extension. Yeah, beautiful. Yes. Yeah, um, and in the point when you're moving the body away from the arm, you can see what happens if, when you come away from the arm, give yourself a moment to listen to what is possible to let go. So have a breath there so that the if the spiral of the arm has a little bit more to give you, a little bit more to inform you, then you can just let that do what it wants to do. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Ruthie. Beautiful. Exactly. Uh, that's beautiful. Yeah. 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 Cool. Okay. And so next time when you come back into the middle, you can let the extension go the other way. So reaching down, drifting the hand down to the hilt and extending up and away slightly more over the head. So yes. Yeah. And see if you can drift that hand over the diagonal so that there is a sense in which your hand doesn't leave the torso until it has to, and it grows away from the torso. And this movement is pretty primitive. This is reaching up for the branches of the arboreal forest. This is the lizard running away from the snakes. This is the lizard crawling up the wall. And then when you have that arm extended, you can move away from that arm. Yeah, beautiful. Yes, great. And you can also play with the turn of the head a little bit. So if your knees are looking that way, look in the same direction. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now just gonna jump forward a little bit. Bring so with that arm still in that position, bring your opposite hand up towards your neck, and then as you unfurl the arm that's up next to your neck, the other arm is going to come down to the hilt. Yeah, that's it. Very good. Yep. So you're just doing the opposite movement with the opposite arm, and as you do that, once you have that movement down, you can roll the body away from the extended arm on either side. So as the arm comes up on one side, yep, the other arm unfurls on the other, and you can roll away from that one. Yeah, beautiful. Yep. Yeah. And note that now, as you're moving one way to the other, then you can begin to massage the body that is in contact with the floor. Yeah, with the body. So if the hilt is there and you're turning, then let the hand on the hilt just give in a little invitation. If the hand is around the neck, then you can give a little invitation for release there. Yeah, great. And then in your own time, you're going to switch that so that you will have the hand that's on the hilt will come up to the neck, and the hand that was on the neck is going to come to the hilt. And you see how the choreography is not that difficult. We can make a Broadway star out of you yet. Yeah, great. Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Although this might be a little odd as far as the movement is concerned, try and drift away from or observe what complications you create for yourself and breathe that away, and then bring your mind back to the just the study of the actual tension, that idea of what you're aiming to do here is to study the release of the spiral so that you can observe what tensions you hold in that spiral. Okay, really great movements. And then just bring your hands down onto your abdomen just for a minute and see how your metabolism is and how your structure is just here and now. And when you have your hands on your ribs, on the out breath, see if the the hands on the ribs can just encourage the settling and widening of the rib cage across the floor. Mm. Then you're going to bring one hand up to the back of the head and just give it a little raise so that the other hand can come behind and remove the block. Get that out of the way. Yes, beautiful observation. That's just great. Yes, even in that movement. Yeah. And then, roll over onto your front. I'm going to play with just a little bit of lizard movement on your front. And so, extend one arm up above your head as far as is comfortable. And you're going to look towards the folded arm. And then you're going to flipper the leg on the same side as the folded arm and just bring that folded leg up. Yes. Beautiful, Ruthie. Yes. And that foot is the searching flipper. It is the searching little frog's leg. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So in this position, bring your hand a little closer to your head, the folded hand a little closer to your head, and then bring the elbow towards that hand. So you'll feel the whole shoulder girdle begin to come off the ground. Yes, exactly. And then you're going to do the same thing with the foot. You'll bring the heel towards the butt a little bit, and then the knee will come towards the butt, and so the pelvis will come off the ground a little bit. Yes. And then you'll do a little bit more folding in. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And a little more folding in of the elbow towards the torso. And then a little more folding in of the knee towards the torso. Yep. So the pelvis. Then you begin to roll a little bit onto the side. And then you're going to unfurl. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to extend the knee across the floor and extend the elbow across the floor and extend the knee across the floor and extend the elbow across the floor. Yeah. Yes. 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 Beautiful. And then you're going to flipper that arm out to straight. Yeah, just see if it can be complete right angles. You're going to see if you can extend that foot as well. So the arm and the foot are extended out. Yeah, so it's like you're making a star shape. Yep, yep, yep. Beautiful. And it doesn't have to be huge. It's just enough to feel the inside of your leg on the floor and enough to feel the length of your arm on the floor. That's great. Yeah. Let's see if you can straighten that foot a little bit, straighten that leg a little bit. Beautiful. Yes. Yes. Yep. And in this position, just listen for loosening your butt muscles. There's no other way of putting it. Yeah. And then you're going to bring that arm back in and bring the leg down by the side and bring your head to center. I'm rushing this a little bit because time. But in your own exploration, if you want to have fun with this, well, then you understand you can take more time to listen to what this means for your pelvic girdle. And then you're going to extend the arm that you previously had bent. And you're going to bring the extended arm and it's going to fold next to your head. Look towards that folded arm. Yeah. And then you can flipper that leg up to a fold on that side. Yeah. And then it's the same idea that you're gonna bring the 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 elbow into the body a little bit so that the shoulder girdle comes up off the floor and bring the knee in a little bit so the pelvic girdle comes up off the floor. Exactly. Beautiful. Yep. And then you can do that a little bit, and then you're gonna unfurl back across the floor. Yeah. And you may feel that the shoulder girdle and the pelvic girdle widen out or splurge out or unfurl or spread as a result. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. And then you're going to extend that arm and extend that leg. And you can just be with that for a second. Okay, so then you're going to bring that elbow into the body a little bit and the knee into the body and fold the knee. This is where the lizard begins to come up off the ground. So you can find the whole back and maybe use the forehead as well if you like. You're going to see if you can come up onto that folded side. Yep. Yes, folding that top arm as well, the extended arm, you're gonna have to bring that into your body a bit. And then, yes, now come up into that crouch position. You might want to bring your knee in a little bit, but then into a kind of froggy position. Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, James. Yeah. Maintain. Bring your feet together, maybe. That might make it easier. You're just gonna sit down. So you can bring your knees in a little bit, or if you're exploring that feeling, yes. And this whole part, when you actually come and you're confronted with gravity, is to me fascinating. So at the point where you actually begin to feel the elbows in contact with the floor and you bring your head up off the floor, yes, that's it. There. How does the elbow come into contact with the connection with the shoulder girdle, and likewise with the pelvis? Yeah. Give yourself just a little rock there, a little rock on the elbows, look backwards and forwards, just to feel that. Yeah, yeah, gorgeous. Yeah. And then if you come back towards your haunches, you'll feel that the arms extend quite naturally. And then when you come back, you'll feel that when your head comes towards your hands and you maintain the length of your arms, you will come up into a crawling position. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Beautiful. Yep. That's it. And so you can then drift the hand and do a couple of crawls, just a little bit. Yes. Great. Bearing in mind which way the elbows actually fold. They fold towards behind you. Yeah. And the knees fold in front of you. Yeah. Yes. And then eventually you can bring the knee up underneath you in order to put the foot on the floor. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And you can follow that spiral. Exactly, Bo. You're going to follow that spiral and come up. Yeah. Yep. There you go. And here, with this moment here, it can be fun to send the pelvis back. So you take a couple of steps backwards. Yeah. Yeah. And then what's fascinating about taking those steps backwards is that the knees fly forwards as a result. So it's not like you step backwards and your knees go backwards. You step backwards and your knees come forwards in order to step backwards. So that's how they're built. And then you can take some steps forwards and still send the pelvis backwards so that you're stepping forwards. Yeah. 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 Thanks for joining.